Okay. So we want to factor, and the first thing you always want to look for is a common factor. So we look at you can look really in two parts, the number and also the variable. So we have a 6 and a 15, so we can do a 3. And then x shows up in both. We have an x squared and an x. So we can factor out an x. Now again, I'm going to write out a bit of detail in this example. A lot of times later on I won't write out all this detail. But let's just really make it clear what's going on. Okay, there's two ways to figure out how this factors. One is what we did in the example last week in class, where you look at each term and say, okay, 3x times what would give us 6x squared? And so we'd say, oh, we have to have a 2x there. And then 3x times what would give us negative 15x? So we'd have to multiply by negative 5. Okay.
I'll just put mine together, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to...
You think it's easier this way? Because if I try to do it all at once, I think this actually is a better way because it's less confusing for me instead of me trying to do it all at the time.
Yeah, whatever works best for you.
Do you recommend this way?
If you're having trouble doing it the other way, then yeah. I have a philosophy in math, and that's when in doubt, write it out. So if there's something I'm not sure about, if you're not sure about, you're never going to really probably mess yourself up by writing more detail. The time you're going to mess yourself up is by writing less detail. Mm-hmm. So whatever works best for you is what I would choose to do. And then you just put together 3x times 2x minus 5. And now we have our answer. So that's the way of asking, what do I have to multiply by? And there's actually...
simplified? Is that simplified?
That's factored.
That's
Keep in
just
mind, factored, we want to write it as a product.
Okay.
Now there's a second way to accomplish that, and you're really doing the same thing, it's just a different way of thinking about it. And that is, instead of asking the question, what do I multiply by, is we say, hey, what happens when I take 6x squared divided by the GCF? So 6x squared divided by 3x would just be 2x. 3 divided by 6 is 2, or 6 divided by 3 is 2. X squared over x is 2x. And the same thing with the minus 15x over 3x. Again, the x's would cancel. 3 and 15 would be minus 5. And then you just put it together the same way. 3x times 2x minus 5.
So it's basically cross multiply too. Negative 5 times 3x is negative 15. So you do it that way. You see how I'm doing it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cross multiply.
Sure.
And then you add the variable.
So two ways you can really think of it to come to that same answer. And then whichever way you're using, whether you're dividing or thinking, what do I multiply by? You're really asking the same question. It's just, it's two different ways of approaching that problem in your brain. And for some people, their brain makes the connection better one way as opposed to the other. And then what most people tend to do in general is once you find the GCF, write it down. Just kind of visualize, hey, I'm taking 6x squared divided by 3x. And then think, okay, what's the answer? Or 15 divided by 3x, what's the answer? Okay, and that'll lead you to the answer as well. Again, if you're ever having any trouble, write out as much detail as you feel you need to write out.
For that initial problem, 6x squared minus 15x,
Mm-hmm.
could you also use negative 3 as your GCF?
You could
That
have.
worked also?
You,
And you would receive the same answers?
it would look a little different, but it would
But you
still,
would also accept that as the appropriate
that would
answer?
still be correct, yeah.